zone 2, and the rest of the peripheral retina is zone 3. So we divide whole of the retina into the 3 parts: zone 1, zone 2, and zone 3. Okay, so the vessels will move from zone 1 to zone 2, zone 2 to zone 3, and once it reaches the ora serrata, we will say the baby is fully vascularized. So we don't need to see those babies again for the retinopathy of prematurity again. Now, talking about the incidence of ROP in India, it has been projected almost 18,000 infants go blind every year, okay, in India itself, okay. And we have a large population of babies who are born with less than 2 kg of birth weight. And in India's, if you see the Western guidelines, what they screen is they screen the baby who are less than 1500 grams of a weight at the birth, or whom the gestational age is less than 32 weeks. But if you follow the same guidelines in India, we are going to miss many of the babies. So according to one paper, almost 6.3% of the babies who were even more than 2 kg required the treatment in the rural ROP program. So we have a different guidelines for Indian society. Okay. So I was talking about how the vessels grow intrauterine. So the vessels start at 16 weeks from the optic nerve head. So the initial process of the vessel formation is the angiogenesis. So there is a formation of vessel de novo. Okay, so that happens till the zone 1. Beyond zone 1, then it is the angiogenesis. Okay, first is the vasculogenesis, then is the angiogenesis. So the vessels from the pre-existing vessels. As the when we go towards the pathogenesis, so this is very important. So what happens intrauterine, why this disease develops? So when the baby is there inside the uterine cavity, so the partial pressure of oxygen in the vessels is almost around 35 to 40. Okay. Now that relative hypoxia, it stimulates the secretion of VEGF there, which helps in formation of the vessels further. Okay. Now when the baby is born premature, okay, there's a premature birth, what happens is, as the baby is premature, there is going to be a underdevelopment of lungs, so we are going to give the baby oxygen usually, okay, or even if oxygen is not given, the overall amount of the oxygen which is there in the air is high, the saturation is high, okay, so it creates a hyperoxic environment there. So because of a hyperoxic environment, there is a vessel constriction. Okay, now in phase 1 there is a vessel constriction. The moment we remove the baby from the oxygen, again there will be an hypoxia, and that hypoxic environment creates a high VEGF load inside the vitreous cavity, and this leads to the abnormal angiogenesis and the ROP. I hope everyone understood. If someone has some confusion, please ask me, because this is very important to understand why ROP develops. If you don't know why it develops, what are the factors, then it is difficult to understand the further process. Did everyone understood how this ROP process happens, the pathogenesis behind the ROP?
Yes, madam. Like we in the end, we will ask they can ask their doubts. So you can just continue with the presentation,
Okay.
please.
Okay. Okay. So this is the photograph of now when we see the retina. So the ROP is defined into the different stages. Okay. So first is the immature retina, where you have these normal vessels and they have stopped here. And this whole of the retina is avascular. You can't see any vessels here. Okay. So this is classified as immature retina. So any baby who has born premature will have some part of the retina which is avascular. So if it is only immature retina, it is not pathogenic. But when there will be an abnormality, there will be development of a stage, there will be a line that is known as stage 1. A demarcation line is formed between the vascular and the avascular retina. This is called a stage 1. So this line doesn't have a width, doesn't have a height. So when this develops a height, this is known as stage 2. You get a ridge there. Okay. This is a corresponding image on which we explain to the parents how the retinopathy of prematurity develops. So what I explain to my patients is when I explain them, I explain in Gujarati. So I tell them कि आँखनी जे रचना છે ભગવાને એવી રીતે કરી છે. આગળના ભાગમાં કીકી બને, વચ્ચેના ભાગમાં લેન્સ બને, પાછળના ભાગમાં પડદો બને. ઓકે, અહીંયાથી લોહીને નળીઓ બનવાની ચાલુ થાય, 9 મહિના ગર્ભમાં રહે તો અહીંયા છેડા સુધી પહોંચી જાય. પણ જે બાળકનો જન્મ 9 મહિના પહેલા થાય એની લોહી નળીઓ અડધે વચ્ચે કોઈ જગ્યા અટકાઈ જઈને ત્યાં એક દીવાર બની જાય. Okay, so this is how we explain to the parents. So the next stage is stage 3. Now what happens in stage 3 is the vessels which have to grow in the retina itself, on the surface of retina, they start moving towards the vitreous cavity. So they start going increasing towards the within the vitreous cavity. So that is stage 3. So we have to be vigilant. When we see stage 3, we need to treat that disease. So it is not only stage 3 which we have to look. I will tell the other factors which we need to see. So if you see stage 3, we have to be very cautious, and we have to keep the baby in keep close observation. And if there's a plus along with the stage 3, then we need to treat the baby. Okay. But if we miss that time, if that time clocks moves ahead, we have not screened, if the baby has not screened because of some reason, so what will happen is there will be a contraction in that part of the retina. So the retina will detach. So once this happens, once the baby goes into the stage 4, so then the problem starts a lot, because now the baby has got converted from a treatable stage where the treatment was possible in the topical anesthesia by just doing the laser or giving an injection. Now the baby requires a surgery. Okay, so now stage 4 is divided into two parts, stage 4A and B. 4A, you can see the detachment is localized in the temporal half, the macula is still attached. So this is stage 4A. But when the macula also detaches, then it is called as stage 4B. Okay, and the prognosis becomes poorer once the baby goes into stage 4B. And if that is also not treated on time, then the whole of the retina detaches and it gets tumbled on the disc. So this is stage 5. And the visual prognosis, not talking about visual prognosis, even the anatomical success rate after doing the surgery, attached retina is very less than 20% in a best of the hands in stage 5. So it is a responsibility to screen the baby on time, to diagnose the disease timely, so that a minimal intervention with a laser or an injection can prevent the baby from going into the retinal detachment and lifetime blindness. Okay. So now one important thing which we need to know being a neonatologist is key, as the number of babies who are surviving with the lesser weight and the lesser gestational age are surviving, thus the disease has changed its pattern. So what we learned till now was the classical teaching of ROP, where a baby has an immature retina, it gets converted into stage 1, then 2, then 3, and then we treat. Now what happens in a very premature babies, those who are less than 1200 grams with a birth weight of less than 1200 grams, or with a gestational age at birth of less than 30 weeks. So what happens in them is the vessels have not gone beyond zone 1 even. Okay. Now if you remember the pathogenesis, the intrauterine growth of the vessels, so what we discussed was there is a vasculogenesis in the zone 1, and then is the angiogenesis process. So what was described in the classical teaching stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 is at that point of time the babies didn't survive, those who were very sick. Okay, so the vessels were usually in the zone 2 or zone 3, and then the disease started developing. Now what happens is, because of the lot of prematurity, these vessels stop in zone 1 itself. Now because of the vasculogenesis, there is a different format in which the disease presents itself. So you don't see any stage 1, stage 2 or stage 3, you won't see any ridge there, and suddenly there will be a dilatation at the posterior pole, there will be dilatation of the vessel tortuosity, and the flat network of vessels will form at this place. Okay, so these flat NVs can be missed very easily in such babies. Okay, so and what happens then is, once you miss this stage, there will be a directly detachment of the retina. Okay, so sometimes this happens at many places where someone has written immature retina zone 1, and suddenly the next week when they say it will be detachment, it will be in stage 4 or stage 5. So why this happens is because it is difficult to identify these vessels. This is a highly contrast image, so you can visualize it so easily. But in a non-contrasted image, when you see by the indirect ophthalmoscope, it's very difficult to, like in this image, if you see, these all are choroidal vessels. and these vessels will be very fine. So it is very difficult to differentiate the choroidal from the retinal vessel. Therefore, you miss the disease. Okay? So we have to be very vigilant to diagnose the APROPs, because once we miss it, once we miss that time, the results will be devastating. So as uh, the blindness, once the baby goes into the attachment, the surgical success chances are very low. The baby become blind for the lifetime. So the burden years which are given to the society, the amount of blindness which is given to the society is very high. Okay, so the burden, because of that, the government of India has included, has given the operational guidelines for the ROP, and included the ROP into the one of the disease. Even in the NNF, they have included the ROP into one of the disease for the cause of preventable blindness. Okay, so these are the guidelines which all need to remember. Is any baby who is born less than 34 weeks at birth, we need to screen that baby. Okay, so other all things apart, if any baby who is less than 34 weeks at birth, we need to screen that baby. Okay, but even if the age is less than more than 34 weeks at birth, but with other risk factors like sepsis, failure to gain weight, transfusion of blood products, respiratory distress syndrome, small for gestational age, PDA, all those babies also, it is a good way to screen those babies, because they may even develop the ROP. Okay? The second criteria is, if gestational age is not available, then any baby who has a birth weight of less than 2 kg at birth needs to be screened. Any other baby who even born at 37 weeks, but we know ki the overall the course of the neonatal course was very bad. So on the discretion of neonatologists, it is better to have a one screening done to be on a confirmed side there is no ROP inside the eyes. Okay? So other risk factors which are there are necrotizing enterocolitis, which is one of the very important factor for development of ROP. Other is septicemia, failure to gain weight. So what they have discussed in one of the paper is, whatever the birth weight of the baby is there. We all know ki there is a loss of some birth weight, almost a 10% in the initial 7 to 10 days, and then the baby starts gaining up the weight. So if the baby gains the birth weight by the 14th day of the life, the chances of developing a treatable ROP are less in those babies compared to babies who don't gain the birth weight at 14th day. Okay? Other factors are transfusion of blood products, respiratory distress, then hypoxemia, mechanical ventilation, hypotension, anemia. Anemia is one of the very important factor which I suppose always ask when I see any baby and I see retinal signs where I feel the baby is anemic. So I always stress on increasing the dose of the hematinics and improving the hemoglobin level. Hypercarbia, hypoglycemia are other factors. So we need to remember there is no sickness course to judge the eligibility of screening. So there's one question to the all the fellows there. What would you do if a baby doesn't have any risk factor and is eligible by weight or age? Will you do the screening or not? Can anyone answer me? Any of the fellows there?
If people want, they can, yeah, they can put in the chat. So Parth has written, yes, we will do the screening. This is what he
Yeah,
has written.
yeah, great. So we need to do the screening in the babies, even if they don't have any risk factor, but they are eligible by weight or age. Okay. So we need to remember, even if you don't give an ounce of oxygen, okay, the ROP can develop. Okay, I suppose we had a baby recently, Dr. Vardhan might be remembering it, baby of Tapi twins, I suppose. So when I told कि this baby needs treatment, so he had a question, ma'am, इस baby को तो कुछ भी नहीं दिया, मतलब इसका तो course इतना stable था, इसको treatable ROP कैसे हुआ? So we need to remember ROP can develop. ROP can develop despite of a good course. Okay. So if the baby is, therefore we are screening them. Okay. So if the baby is eligible by weight or by the age, we need to screen those babies. Okay. So when to screen? Now we know whom to screen. Now when to screen? So the best practice is to screen between 3rd to 4th week of life, irrespective of gestational age. Okay, and if the baby is less than 1200 grams at birth or less than 28 weeks of gestation at birth, then we need to do the screening between 2nd to 3rd week of life. Okay, and it is preferable to do the first screening before discharge from the NICU. This is one of the very important point which even they have highlighted in the RBSK guidelines. Once you do a one screening before a discharge from the NICU, even if the baby is 1 week old, you can get a screening done if you have a ROP specialist there with you. So what will happen is that will make a rapport of a doctor, of a retina surgeon with the parents. They will come to know there is something called as ROP inside the eye. If 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 this happens to the baby can go blind for the lifetime. So they don't forget to come for the second screening when it is required. Okay, fine. So uh, the second point is any sick child is more likely to develop an ROP. So we should not delay the screening of the baby if the baby is sick. So how do we examine the babies? We need to cover the infant with the warm linen wraps, and the ROP examination done with the indirect ophthalmoscopy by a trained vitreoretinal surgeon. And I will show a video, I suppose. So this is very important to understand the screening has to be done by indirect ophthalmoscope with the wire speculum in place and a sterile depressor. So many a times the parents will have a question कि आँख के अंदर कुछ चिपिया डाला था फिर एक सरिये से जो है आँख को घुमाया गया था. So they will have a lot of concern कि why this way the baby was examined. So we need to explain the parents that this is the only way by which we can diagnose the disease and treat it timely. Okay. So now we have an advantage of a Neo camera. It is a camera which is specially developed to screen the ROP babies in pans, and the images of the baby's retina are captured in these cameras, and then that is sent to us to the doctor by the email. And what doctor does is they will see the image and will diagnose and will give the diagnosis to the technician, and they will accordingly write down the reports into the file and counsel the parents. So this method of tele-screening is very helpful to us to expand our ROP services to the peripheral centers. Right now we are screening almost whole of the South Gujarat with the help of this camera. So the another advantage is the babies whom we are seeing right now here in the Surat of the tertiary hospitals, many of those babies are coming from the far periphery, from most of the other areas of the South Gujarat like Ankleshwar, Bharuch or Vapi, Valsad, Vyara, from the different places. So the follow-up which is needed for these babies is usually a longer follow-up. So because we have a camera and a technician which goes to each of these places on a weekly basis on a fixed day and fixed time, so those babies don't need to travel to us till up to Surat for that screening purpose. So they can get screened to their respective places by this with the help of this camera. So the other advantage of having this camera is it is an objective evidence. Whatever we have seen is captured in these images. So you can counsel the parents very nicely. You can tell them how the images are captured. This is the normal image, how the retina looks like. This is the image of your baby, and these are the stages. So the retina has not developed till now, and therefore we need to see the baby again. So parents understand the importance of the follow-up very nicely once we counsel them on the basis of these images. The third purpose, which is one of the very important purpose of doing photographic evidence is the medical legal purpose. As we know, the ROP has a very big legal suit. So having evidence there in the images, why you treated these babies, okay, and even if something happens bad with the baby, there are some conditions we see nowadays where the prognosis is very poor. So once you have captured those things into the camera, so even if some legal obligation happens, you can explain it. Ki, uh, the disease was itself so bad from the starting. Therefore, the prognosis is bad. Okay? Fourth purpose is academic. Now, initially we used to tell to the pediatrician, ki, okay, now this is the APROP and therefore we need to treat. So you people must be wondering in the mind, I don't know what happens inside the eye. So now when we show the images to the neonatologist, so they also understand, okay, this is happening inside the eye. The fifth purpose, what I told you, is the telemedicine, because of which we are able to screen whole of the South Gujarat at many centers in the South Gujarat right now. And the most important advantage of this is it can be done by paramedics. So the person who is doing right now is just a 10th pass graduate, but we train him in capturing the images. He got trained from the Narayan Nethralaya Bangalore in how to capture the images of the babies. It's a 1 month of a program of a training schedule which they follow there, and then they certify the trainer for capturing the images in the periphery. So you don't need a retina specialist to go to each of the place in the NICU in each of the districts. Only a paramedic who has been trained wonderfully can do this job, and each of the baby can get screened in the periphery. So now the next part, which is very important, is the schedule and the documentation of the ROP. Now it is always best to have a fixed day and a fixed time of each week for the screening. The screening should not be done on the ad hoc basis. Someone calls you and tells you ki aaj ye baby discharge ho raha, you get it screened. So that is not a way the screening has to be done. Once you make a fixed day protocol of each week, the chances of missing any of the baby for screening are least in such cases. Okay. The second thing what can be done is to list the number of babies who needs a screening. So you display, you make a printed or you write down on a board a day before which babies need a screening. So none of the babies get missed from the screening on the day when the ROP specialist is going to come. The documentation must be done according to the ICROP guidelines, and the counseling of the disease, the nature of the disease, and the need for the follow-up needs to be informed to the parents. And a card is given to the parents. So this is our ROP file which is given to each of the parents, and whole of the documentation process is done on this file. Then to our software. Third is to the NICU where we visit, they also document the findings. Fourth is we have a register where we write up all the details along with the phone numbers, diagnosis, follow-up dates. We have another register where if the baby has missed a follow-up, then the call is done to the parents, and we inform them they need to come back for the screening again. So this is the inner side of the page where the date of examination is written and the diagnosis, and there is a specific mention of when the baby needs to come for the next visit. That the date is mentioned here. So it is not written 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because then the parents become confused when they need to come. So once you write up the date when they need to get the screening done, so they come on the time. So this is another paper where they, what I discussed before is where they did the screening of each of the baby before discharge from the NICU, even if the baby was 5 days old. So what they found was initiating a ROP screening before NICU discharge, irrespective of post-menstrual age, increase the ROP screening increase the enrollment into the ROP screening program without increasing the number of sessions. So this is one of the important factor where we can decrease the chances of the miss outs of the screening. So coming to the treatment guidelines according to the ETROP classification. So initially before 2010, I suppose, there were only 2 treatment modalities. One was the laser, which was done for the stage 3. And once the baby goes into the stage 4, you need a surgical intervention. Okay. So any baby who is in zone 1 with any stage with a plus disease needs a treatment. Okay. Any baby in the zone 2 with stage 2 or 3 but plus disease needs a treatment. and the third is APROP. Now the guidelines, what we treat, the way we treat is little different for the APROP. What we do is we give an injection that I will talk further, and surgical intervention is required for stage 4 and stage 5 ROP. So this is a case where this is stage 3 and we did a laser, which is a gold standard therapy, zone 2, stage 3, and you do a laser, and these are the photographs post laser once the disease is revealed. So you can see beautifully this all has gone off from here. Okay. The second treatment modality is the anti-VEGF injection. Okay, so anti-VEGF injection in the ROP, there's a limited indications for it. One is you have a severe NVI. NVI is neovascularization of iris, which will constrict the pupil, and it won't allow you to see inside, and you can't do the laser in such baby. So in such cases where you have a very fulminant NVI, then you need to give the injections so that you get a view inside. Second is as a monotherapy for the APROP cases, or right now we also give the injection to the baby who have a stage 3 in zone 2 posterior. Okay. And the third is previously treated eyes with a plus disease or having evolving vitreoretinal traction. So you have given laser to a baby for a stage 3 zone 2 or stage 3 zone 3, but the disease is not regressing, still the traction is going on and the plus is still persistent there. Okay, so in such babies, even before the surgery, we give the injection. Now this is a small video how the injection is given. I suppose most of the fellows from the Nirmal hospital have been there with us in the OT while we are giving the injection, so they are well versed with the technique how we give it. So here, if one can see these fine vessels over the lens, so this hole is the TVL, tunica vasculosa lentis. So we use a 30 gauge needle to give the injection. So this is a simple process. Now talking about the benefits of each of them, why laser, why injection, when to do what. So the advantage of laser therapy is it is once done and it is done forever. Okay, so you do a laser, it is a painful procedure. It creates a lot of pain to the baby, and even it is painful to the retina surgeon when you do the laser. But the disease regress beautifully. Okay, and you have finite follow-up. Once the disease regress, it won't come back ever in the life. Okay, and there is no risk of a retinal detachment in the future. But the disadvantages are the pain which the baby get. You need the anesthesia sometimes in a very heavier babies. We usually do in topical anesthesia in India, but in the foreign countries they induce a GA for doing a laser. Okay. The second most important disadvantage is refractive error. It induces a lot of myopia in the baby. The myopia can be -5, -10, -15, -20, depending on how much laser was needed for the baby. The third is a squint, which happens in almost 20% of babies, secondary to refractive error itself. Then is the restricted field, the area which you have lasered of the retina. That retina is never going to work. Okay, so that much of the field is restricted for the lifetime. And doing a laser is have a long learning curve. So most of the times when we say when we get the babies whom the laser is done elsewhere and the disease doesn't regress, the reason is the laser is not done adequately, because doing a complete laser is itself a very difficult job. So therefore many times the disease doesn't regress because of inadequate laser. Now on the other hand, doing an anti-VEGF injection is a far easier job. It's a small job, okay, and you get a very rapid response. The visual acuity is better because once the disease regress because of the anti-VEGF injection, what you have given inside the vessel will move further, so the visual fields will be better, and therefore the visual acuity will be better. Okay, but the biggest problem in the anti-VEGF injection is the recurrence. So in one of the paper, what they have defined is almost 30% of babies with the APROPs develop a recurrence post-injection. Okay, so 30 to 40% of the babies will require a second treatment modality, either in the form of a repeat injection or in the form of a laser as a second intervention. Okay, now that recurrence can happen at any point of time, from 4 weeks to 20 weeks. Okay, so you need to see the baby every week post injection, so that you don't miss a recurrence, because once you miss a recurrence you are again into the previous mode where you didn't treat the disease. So again there will be a detachment and the baby will go into stage 4. So if you miss a recurrence, the chances of a detachment are very high. Okay, therefore you need to see a baby every week till there is a full vascularization, or you do a second treatment and the disease regresses. Okay?
Hello. 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 फोन करें ना? फोन करो। मैडम का नेट चला गया। Hello. I think so. Madam's connection is somewhat issue is there. Phone kar.
Hello.
मैडम का लाइट चली गई है, तो फिर नेट चला गया। मैडम will reconnect shortly.
हेलो मोहित भाई।
हाँ जी, बोलो बस।
क्या हाल है?
बस बढ़िया, तुम बोलो।
I would
कैसे?
like to tell you that my thesis topic was on same topic, ROP,
हाँ,
and now it is very highly advanced. We have RedCam and all. So in northern part of India, in Haryana and like UP, we don't have so much of advanced ROP network.
okay.
And what I personally feel is that training of the PGs for screening the ROP in eye department, I think that part we don't know how much it is going on.
So it is not going on very well. Like अभी तो नहीं है, लेकिन ये it is very much possible, because अगर red cam आता है तो then it has become very possible. It is very much possible with the red cam.
Yes, sir. And I think NNF should promote this aspect and ask for the upgradation of ROP screening during the PG training program.
अभी ये जो इंस्टीट्यूट है ना, डॉक्टर रेखा ने यहाँ पे ज्वाइन किया है, दे आर डूइंग वेरी गुड वर्क। एक्चुअली वो जो हमारे गवर्नमेंट के वो है ना, क्या कहते हैं, SNCUs, उसके साथ भी दे आर गेटिंग अटैच्ड एंड दे आर डूइंग दैट आल्सो। अभी SNCUs में भी इन्होंने अटैचमेंट करना शुरू किया है, तो इट
They are
बिकम्स
training
वेरी गुड।
the eye specialists.
नहीं, दे आर ट्रेनिंग दिस पैरामेडिकल, जो इन्होंने पैरामेडिकल स्टाफ है ना, उनको ट्रेन कर रहे हैं रेड कैम्प में। तो वो पैरामेडिकल वाला ही टेक्स द रेड कैम्प, गोज टू दैट सेंटर, ही डज दैट, फिर इनको पिक्चर्स भेजता है, एंड देन दे मींस डिस्टेंट डायग्नोसिस है बेसिकली। सो दिस इज
एक्चुअली
समथिंग।
सर प्रॉब्लम ये है कि आपने भी सुना होगा कि आरोपी के पीछे बहुत गंदे लिटिगेशंस हुए हैं।
लिटिगेशंस हैं, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
और प्रॉब्लम में आदमी तब फंसता है जब आपके पास वेंटिलेटर पे बच्चा हो और स्क्रीन करने वाला कोई है नहीं।
तो ये रेड कैम्प से साउथ इंडिया में भी दे हैव स्टार्टेड दिस प्रोग्राम।
या दिस रेड कैम इज प्रीटी एक्सपेंसिव एंड इसकी ट्रेनिंग जरूरी है।
ट्रेनिंग है, लेकिन वंस यू गेट ट्रेंड, अभी इनके पास, इन लोगों के पास, इनके वो जो सूरत में तो ये खुद आते हैं, बट बाकी जितनी भी दूसरी जगह है ना, जो साउथ गुजरात के सैटेलाइट टाउन्स हैं और ये सब हैं, उनमें इनके बंदे जाते हैं रेड कैम लेके। सो दे आर डूइंग अ लॉट ऑफ कवरेज विद दिस।
In South Gujarat and Bombay, you have very high advanced facilities, but here we don't have. We don't have that network of. So we can think of building that up by NNF and IE Society and all.
Sure.
एक दूसरी चीज मैं आपसे शेयर करूंगा, रूल ऑफ 3। मैंने अपने यहाँ पे पीजीज को सिखाया रूल ऑफ 3।
हाँ
सो एनी बेबी हु इज less than 2000 grams and fitting into screening criteria for eye, ear or brain.
ओके
So day 3 it is the brain scan, first USG.
ओके
3 weeks is retina
ग्रेट
and 3 months is ear.
वेरी गुड वेरी नाइस तो
So
सभी
whenever
ट्रेनिंग should learn should listen to this, everybody should listen to this is very good.
the baby is admitted, I make them write on the front page of with dates कि कौन सी डेट को कौन सा स्कैन होना है।
Great.
एंड अगर कुछ किसी कारण से नहीं हो पाता है तो उसको डिस्चार्ज कार्ड पे जरूर मेंशन करें।
Sure. This is good practice. Good. So Dr. Rekha has rejoined. So
Yes, sir.
madam,
Yes, sir.
please continue.
Yeah, sorry for the net problem.
Hanji madam, please continue.
Okay, so the other problems are the systemic side effects, like there can be a occlusion of the vessels in the lung, brain, kidneys, or anywhere in the body. So there will be a delayed milestones in this, or because of prematurity itself. Okay? The we are using is only the eccentrics because it is approved by the DCI right now in the India. So medically we are safe. The second thing about the eccentrics is the systemic half-life of the eccentrics is very less compared to the Avastin. So the chances of a systemic side effects are less with the eccentrics compared to the Avastin. Okay, and which got published as a rainbow, where we did 2 and 0.03. So they found the chances of recurrence are less with the 0.02. So initially what we were giving right now was 0.01. Now we have shifted to 0.02 for APROP cases depending upon the rainbow trial results. Okay. The other concerns about the injections is endophthalmitis. That is here a lot of and giving up the using of the betadine drops post injection, also the antibiotics post injection. Okay. The second concern is about the cataract due to the lens touch from the needle. So to the God's grace, we didn't see any of the baby with the cataract till now post injections. So
नहीं मैं बोलता हूँ.
this is one of the landmark
हेलो
hearing. Okay.
मैडम आप अपना
Ojibwa,
वीडियो
your teacher's case.
मैडम अपना
This
वीडियो
was
आप
done.
बंद कर दीजिए, आपका ना सिग्नल्स में इशू आ रहे हैं तो आप अपना वीडियो
Okay.
ऑफ कर दीजिए.
Okay.
आप बोलते रहिए, आपका खाली वीडियो ऑफ कर दीजिए. नहीं स्क्रीन शेयरिंग चालू रखिए मैडम, खाली वीडियो ऑफ कर दीजिए. गया क्या? हेलो.
Okay. Okay, sir.
लेकिन मैडम
Hello.
हाँ आप ठीक है, आपका स्क्रीन आ गया. हाँ जी.
Okay. So this was a landmark judgment where a compensation of 1.8 crore was given to the 18-year-old girl who lost the vision because ROP screening was not done to that baby.
Okay.
So after this judgment, many child, and that can happen up to 21 years from the birth. Okay. So we need to maintain all the data, all the consent forms, all the diagnosis reports, and everything for the baby who have been born premature up to 21 years to prevent the chances of medical negligence against us. So this we had discussed. So another myth which is there is baby who is sick, who is oxygen dependent, who is temperature dependent, who is on ventilator needs to be screened. We don't need to wait. Even we can do the laser, we can give the injection in such babies and such sick babies. Okay? This is one of the paper where they changed the different parameters, okay, here, and thus the treatment, the chances of developing the treatable FiO2 based on pulse oximetry readings, they made the target saturations between the 88 to 92%. They avoided the large fluctuations in the FiO2, and they promoted the good postnatal weight gain, promoted the parental nutrition, maintained the strict asepsis protocol, and this helped in, and okay, so this all helped in decrease. So what are the advantages of screening with us is we have a certified team of doctors and technicians. The quality care is best given to the patients. We have a neo fundus camera for the screening in different remote places, NICUs on the weekly basis, and the registration and the follow-up of each of the baby is assured, and there is a well planned program for each. Right now we are covering now I'm going to share the data from the Nirmal Hospital. This is the data for 2018 January to December. So the number of babies who were screened were 93, and the treatable babies came out to be 15, out of which zone 1 ROP cases were 5, including one baby who was not developed. So the prognosis of such babies is very bad, and even the treatment which is given, they require a multiple treatment. Okay? The number of babies with a zone 2 APROP or stage 3 in the zone 2 posterior was almost 4. The number of babies whom we injected was 9. The number of babies who required additional laser for the second treatment, okay, which was 2 anterior zone 3 babies. Number of babies who even after only one injection the retina become fully vascularized were 5. There was only one baby who required a second dose of injection. That is the baby who had a zone 1 posterior ROP, and none of the baby required a surgical intervention. So each of the baby whom we screened, they got the data of from January 103 babies from Nirmal Hospital, and only 6 babies need the treatment. That is the treatable ROP reduced from 16% to 5.82%, of which zone 1 APROPs were 2 babies, both were zone 1 posterior actually, and both were given treatment, but they both got some of the systemic issues. Were given the injection, and both of the baby becomes required the surgical intervention till date. So what are the scopes for improvement is, one is the ROP nurse. So the advantage, the concept of ROP nurse is key. We train one of the nurse about which babies will need a screening into the hospital admitted to those babies. They will define the date on which the baby needs a screening, so none of the baby miss the screening part. Okay, these sisters, these nurses will also make sure on the day when the ROP surgeon is coming, they will check a day before those the babies, those who have been discharged and still need a screening, they will call up those basically to the protocols what we have, that what we are rightly following in the Nirmal hospital, taking care of the saturation parameters and the sepsis, which is one of the very important parameter, and that is the reason I suppose we were able to reduce the incidence of the treatable ROP from 2018 to 2019. To make a list of the babies who need, so this is one of the image which are who needs the screening. This video is for mainly for the fellows, because I know most of the neonatologist consultants, those who are there right now, are following all the guidelines. But what happens once we miss the screening of any baby?
मैडम वीडियो का आवाज नहीं आ रहा है.
Okay. Is it audible now, sir?
नहीं मैडम, इट्स नॉट ऑडिबल.
It's not audible.
आपने वो लगाया होगा ना मैडम, हैं?
What, sir?
नहीं मेरा म्यूट नहीं, अनम्यूट ही है. आपने मैडम वो लगाया होगा, इसमें आपने वो ईयरफोन्स वगैरह ऐसा कुछ लगा रखा है क्या अपने लैपटॉप में?
Okay, I will just tell about the. क्या बोल रहे सर?
आपने अपने लैपटॉप में ईयरफोन्स ऐसा कुछ लगा रखा है क्या?
नहीं सर, नहीं लगाया हुआ.
ओके, फिर पता नहीं क्यों नहीं आवाज नहीं आ रही है इसकी. अब आपका म्यूट तो नहीं है वहां पर?
नहीं सर, फुल इस पे तो आ रहा है सर वॉल्यूम.
आपके उसमें आ रहा है वॉल्यूम? अच्छा. हेलो हेलो, फिर क्या मैडम?
I will just.
हाँ जी हाँ जी.
This is a baby who was, and when they reached. Hello, हाँ sir, am I audible? Am I audible, sir?
हाँ जी हाँ जी, you are audible.
Okay, so then the parents went to the eye specialist and they came to know the retina is detached and now nothing can be done. Now the parents are roaming from here to there to each of the hospitals. They didn't left any hospital in the Gujarat. Even they went till the Chennai. If something can be done for this baby and the baby can get a sight, okay. But every time they reach every place with a hope, some treatment can be given. Every time they were told nothing can be done. Okay. So this is what happens to the baby once we miss that small screening part. That 1 minute of screening can save this eyesight for lifetime. Okay. Now this baby is never going to come back to any pediatrician. That we need to remember. These parents with this baby will move to each of the eye surgeon, each of the retina surgeon with a hope that someone will do the surgery and some eyesight can be recovered back. So it is very important for us to remember each of the baby gets screened on time. That is our responsibility. Medical legal things are a different perspective. That is a different perspective itself. But being a human, we know that if we don't screen these babies on time, they will become blind for the lifetime. The parents have a concern that we have to get him admitted to the blind school now, whether his face will become disfigured in the future. Like once there's a detachment, the globe doesn't grow in size. The rest of the bony structure around the eye, they doesn't develop. So there will be a facial disfigurement even with such babies. Okay? So this is a big concern. So it is our moral responsibility to screen each baby who needs a screening on time. If they have a treatable ROP, they get treated on time. And I can assure you from my side, any baby who requires a treatment, even if that baby doesn't have any money, that baby will get treated on time. Okay, so it is a responsibility, it is a request from my side to every one of you to send each of the baby on time to us so that we can prevent this blindness. So this is the last slide. So these are my happy babies whom I treated. And what we need to do is we need to screen and follow up these babies. And what we can do is we can put up the banners and posters in the NICU waiting areas like this, so that what we have in the our Nirmal NICU itself. And we can show them the small video presentation of patient testimonials, how the method of examination, how the screening is done. So they come to know, okay, this is a very small procedure by which the disease can be diagnosed on time and baby can be treated on time. My special thanks to my mentors, Dr. Bhavin and Dr. Anand Vanikar, who showed me the paths to do this RP screening for these small bundle of joys. And special thanks to my team and referring pediatricians and my patients for keeping trust in me. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. And it was really informative for all of us, especially our fellows and our residents. So again, I would like to impress on this thing that screening is very important. We should be very well versed and aware about this. And rest, their screening program is really good. So if we overdo also, it is always good to overdo screening, but
Yeah.
should not miss a single person, a single
Yeah,
baby.
should not miss.
And if you have screened 2 babies extra who doesn't require, it's fine.
Yeah.
So we should be very careful. And one thing, as you have seen in the data, keeping the data of your ROPs is very important, and it become very good once we got attached with them, because their data keeping is very good. So we also keep data, and other thing is, like you have seen in their presentations, that the percentage of treatable ROPs decreased from 1 year to another year. It was only possible because we repeatedly, all our consultants, they have repeated meetings with Dr. Rekha again and again, and you should try to discuss and learn how to improve. That's the only way you can improve the screening, and you can improve your decrease the rate of your ROPs in the unit. That is the only thing we have learned along with the help of Dr. Rekha. So now I would like um, my other people like residents and everyone to please ask the question, write down on the chat box, or you can even ask. Otherwise, you can write down, and then I can pass it on to Dr. Rekha. And sir is there, Jhala sir. सर हाँ सर सर आपको अगर कुछ प्लीज ऐड ऑन करना है तो सर